food at this market might be piping hot, but business isn't. Ulsan's traders have taken a big hit in recent years, and the reason is the South Korean conglomerate Hyundai. Job losses at Hyundai's Ulsan shipyard, the world's biggest, are having a knock-on effect. Traders like Kim Young-min say fewer workers are making the short walk from the shipyard to the market.
The heavy industries in Ulsan aren't doing well, according to the news. That's the biggest problem, isn't it? Business is down more than 50%. Consumers are not spending because they don't have the money. Jobs are needed for people to earn and spend money. But there are no jobs at the moment.
That view's echoed by one of Young-min's customers.
Many shops have been closing and people are losing money. My son is also a business owner, but he's suffered a huge loss on what he invested and had to sell his business. It's a never-ending cycle.
Everywhere you look in Ulsan, you see Hyundai and its workers. The company built Ulsan from a small town in the 1960s to a city of around 1 million people today. The shipyard here is run by Hyundai Heavy Industries, and Hyundai Motors owns the car plant. They're part of the Hyundai Chaebol, a Korean word that refers to family-run conglomerates. They were the major reason for South Korea's economic miracle in the 1970s and 80s, as government backing helped them expand and dominate the economy. Some Chaebol are worldwide names, like Hyundai, Samsung, and LG. The 10 top Chaebol in South Korea had revenue equivalent to 2/3 of the country's GDP in 2017. Compare that to the US, where it takes the top 500 companies to make the same proportion. And the Chaebol are also seen as having close links to the government and benefiting from them. Ulsan's fortunes are tied to one Chaebol, Hyundai. In this city, you can work for Hyundai, drive a Hyundai car, go to a Hyundai school or hospital, and even support the local Hyundai football team. Now that's all well and good when things are going well for the conglomerate, but what happens when they aren't? Well, then you get this, a row of closed shops for sale and for rent. You also have a situation where this city has gone from the richest in South Korea to a designated industrial crisis zone. The population went down for the first time in 2016, and exports went down too. And the question that has to be asked is this a symptom of over-reliance on one oversized Chaebol? Hyundai is struggling with competition from China and rising labour costs at home. In addition to its business challenges, anger against Hyundai and other Chaebol has grown as South Korea's economy has worsened and corruption scandals emerge. Samsung's vice chairman and heir apparent was imprisoned in 2017 in connection with a scandal that brought down former President Park Geun-hye. And analysts say the economic dominance of the Chaebol squeezes out smaller firms and startups.
I think their time is finished, and they need to find a better way of, more modernized way of running the business. You can find main negative effects in terms of unfair, business contracting with, small and medium-sized companies. So these small firms, small and medium-sized firms take account for more than 80% of employment in South Korea. However, they are undergoing an unfair, contracting relationship with big companies.
Chaebol may make the most money in South Korea, but they only employ 5% of the population. Most young people want to work for them, and some will wait until they get a Chaebol job, rather than work somewhere smaller for less. That's one of the reasons more than 11% of young South Koreans are unemployed, and Jun Hae-yoon is one of them. She wanted a job at a big corporation, but she's found success elsewhere. Her cartoons have an audience of tens of thousands on Instagram.
I heard that creating portfolios on a tablet PC would give me an advantage at a job interview. I've been preparing a portfolio to apply for a position at a large corporation, but didn't get the job, and didn't want the cartoon character I've created to go to waste. So I started uploading my work as cartoons, and meant for them to be seen by my mom and my friends only at first. I never thought I'd become famous because of them, so it came as a surprise.
Hyun's cartoons feature a version of herself as she struggles to find a job, and they've struck a chord with other young South Koreans.
For me personally, I'll feel inferior and wonder to myself, is there something wrong with me? Am I just unlucky? Am I just not cut out for a job? So it affects my self-esteem. Many people thought they were alone, felt inferior, and were self-deprecating. But they realized there are others like them out there through my cartoons, and seek comfort in them.
Other young South Koreans find different ways to make themselves feel better. This is the Rage Room, where, for a price, you can take out your anger by smashing appliances, plates, and whatever else you like. Kwon Soon-won has been trying to get a job for a year, with no success. He's frustrated, but here, he can let off some steam before going back to the job hunt.
In South Korea and many other countries, there are more job seekers than vacancies in corporations, so it's hard to become employed. The process of resume submission, screening, and interviews is rigorous, and it's taking a toll not just on me, but on all job seekers. After smashing the TV and throwing plates against the wall, I felt a great sense of relief. I've been stressing out about finding a job, but I feel a lot better now.
President Moon Jae-in promised to create jobs, but instead, the unemployment rate has gone up since he's taken office. He'll have to act fast, or he might find that young people's rage is directed towards him, rather than discarded electronics. Abubakr al Shamahi, The Newsmakers, Seoul.